Today, we're journeying through the senses. We're going to practice a little breath work and just love on our bodies and our minds. So, if you can leave your work space, come with me. I invite you to join me stepping away. It's a little chilly in my space, so I'll always encourage you to stay as comfortable as possible. So, I know most of you may be at work today. Can't really change too much about your positioning. That's totally fine. But if it would be possible for you to kick your shoes off underneath your desk and place your feet totally flat on the floor, this is to establish a sense of grounding. That might be really nice for you. If you do happen to have a space that you can slip away to at work or you're at home, consider joining me in any position that feels good to you on the floor for a little more sense of grounding. And if you feel that you get really fatigued in your back while you're in seated meditation, use a wall or the back of your chair for support. We try to climb up the spine here, finding this beautifully tall and erect posture without having a stiffness or rigidity in our spines. Now, please move intuitively as it feels good to you to work out some tensions that we can sit for our practice. But if you'd like, I'll guide you through some movements to begin. We'll take a big breath, just a few movements here, spreading everything, our fingers wide, our arms, our chests, even your belly. Could you try to open your navel left to right? And during any of your next exhales, let's place soft hands around the base of our skull. Elbows will move forward, stretching through the back of your shoulders. And then drop your nose towards your knees, elbows towards your thighs. Put a little pressure on the back of your skull for an assisted neck and upper back stretch. Please try to unclench your jaw here, softening your facial features. And then take a push back with your skull, widening elbows once again, but let's come bigger this time. You're going to bring your belly to me. A little bit of a back bend. We'll push our skulls back. Press your elbows as wide as possible, opening even in your inner arms and your armpits, opening your throat. Come on back to center, eyes forward. Stretch your arms to the sky, clasp your hands, and try to wiggle out of your lower half. Just some encouragement to grow a little taller. Allow your arms to fall to your left side on the arm of a chair or your leg, and just take a little swivel to the left, perhaps peeking with your eyes over your left shoulder. And I'm using a little bit of a leveraging here. My hands are really helping me twist here, softening through your breath so it has space to find its way around your twisted spine. Coming on back to center super slowly. Let's reach high again. I like to get long first before we twist. Come and wiggle out of your waist a bit. Then soften your arms both down to anything on the right side. As you take this final bit of movement before we settle, do things that feel good to you. Maybe a little extra pressure from the hands, a swivel of your eyes to the right. And while you come back to the center and we establish a sense of stillness, if you get uncomfortable at any time, don't fight through that. Just wiggle yourself around, readjust something that feels really good, and then we'll slip back into our breath and meditation together. To begin this morning, just check in with your breath. If you're able to feel it physically, if you like to use the visuals and in your mind's eye you see it, connect with it. No judgment or criticism. We come with an open mind, a beginner's mindset, if you will, with no expectations, no judgments, just softness. Our goal is to become really present today. And I have a fun little bit of breath work for us in the beginning. Once you feel that you have connected with your breath, that you've moved away for a moment from the outside world, stepped within, feel your breath moving. Let's come to a practice that is cooling, helping us step back from any hot and spicy moments we may have had recently, when you get a little fired up and feisty, we'll come back to a cooling state of mind, simmering down a bit here. So if you can roll your tongue like a burrito, like a little U shape, can you do that? It's okay if you can't, I have another option, but if you can, you'll roll your tongue. So if you can't make your tongue into that little U shape, press your teeth together, the tops and the bottoms of your teeth. And as we inhale, you are either pulling the breath through your tongue roll or through your clenched teeth. And if you're using your teeth, it'll be a bit of a hissing sound. And no matter how we choose to breathe in, we'll all soften the lips and tongue and then breathe back out through our noses. Okay, so let's try it. It's gonna feel really cool in your mouth here. Rolling your tongue or pulling teeth softly together, breathing in. When you're ready to exhale, soften anything you did with your mouth and reach the breath out through your nose. If your nose is clogged up today, you're welcome to use your mouth instead. Let's try a few rounds like this, cooling and introspective. If you're doing the teeth together and making that hissing sound, your tongue will just be resting casually on the back of your teeth there. Let's try one more round of this breath. As you come back, maybe lick your lips, move your tongue around your mouth a little bit. It tends to get kind of dry in your mouth when you practice that, but notice that sense of coolness coming in. I really love that breath practice when you start to get worked up and you're like, I'm gonna flip out. You know, it happens to the best of us. If you're in a place where you're not face to face with someone and they're gonna be like, what are you doing? Like if you're driving in your car or you're on the telephone with someone and you're frustrated, it's a great time to try that breath practice. Great job. Let's move into our senses meditation for today. So moving away from whatever is around us just for a moment, turn your eyes downcast. I love this little tuck of our chin. Helps us lengthen up through the backs of our neck. Paying attention to our breath again, arriving here. There's no place like the present. So we'll come to the present moment, reminding ourselves that there's no place that we need to be. Just for this short period of time, you are exactly where you need to be. Inhaling gently and exhaling even more gently. Now bring your eyes back up to me for our senses meditation today without moving your head. We'll just move our eyes around. Actually move your eyes, like look to the left, up, to the right, down. Maybe you move your eyes in a different way. Maybe it's just forward and down, forward into the right corner, wherever you want to move them. But as you're looking at things and allowing our eyes to wander, we're taking notice of what we see. Color of the walls, some artwork or decorations that may be around us, the physical details of your space, colors, textures, shapes. And just as quickly as we brought that sense of eyesight to ourselves, let it go. Allow your eyes to soften back down, maybe where they were just gazing a moment ago. Something that is uninteresting if you're keeping your eyes open. Or feel free to close your eyes altogether. Especially when we go through our senses meditation, it's nice to fully close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, so that you can really use your other senses in an enhanced way. Tuning in to the sounds around us. Like myself, I have this little space heater humming near me. If you're in your workspace, you might hear others shuffling papers around or clicking away on their keyboards. We're trying not to attach a story to what we're hearing, but we're coming into this super heightened state of presence. Noticing sounds inside your walls, or perhaps if you're near a window, you can hear things outside your space, such as little birds chirping. And there's no good or bad qualities being assigned to anything that we notice. We are just here to listen. That sounds like advice someone may give for being a really good friend, right? Just here to listen. So perhaps in addition to cultivating a beautiful enhanced state of presence in our senses meditation, we gain these other really useful insights as well. Maybe you come home and your kids or your spouse or your partner or whomever you chat with is like, wow, you're just such a good listener today. We just don't know the benefits, but they're so far reaching. It's amazing what we can accomplish in our time together. As you gently move away from your sense of sound, can you slowly shift your awareness to your sense of smell? Just a reminder, we're not attaching any judgments to it. There are no stories to our smell. We're just noticing this in our environment. So it could be something, maybe there is a little cafeteria near you in your department and someone microwaved something, maybe that smell is wafting around, or it's something you used on your body or your hair today. Maybe it's something that's in your clothing. With the sense of smell, I like to incorporate taste as well, since they're so strongly related. So we'll observe any lingering tastes of food or drink on your lips or in your mouth. If you happen to wear chapstick on your lips, that may be something that you're able to even smell or taste. Taking a moment to come to the senses of smell and taste. Let's move again, when you're ready, to our sensation of feeling. Where are your hands resting currently? While maintaining a soft, easy sense about our body, can we notice textures of our skin against our clothing, our bodies against whatever we're sitting upon? Your feet, did you put them on the ground, or are your ankles, if you're seated with me, resting upon something else, a body part of the ground? And what's the quality of the air? How does that feel around you? Do you feel enveloped in warmth? Do you feel cold in certain exposed areas of your body? Just here to notice. Now allow your senses to wander slowly and gently. You're welcome, if your eyes were closed, to reopen them if you'd like to wander back through your sense of sight. I actually like at this part just to kind of move my eyes around in my eye sockets, but then just noticing how they're enveloped by this warm, soft, dark eyelid over top. If you become distracted by anything, don't get discouraged. Just notice what senses were heightened when my attention was pulled in a certain direction. You may be noticing as you cruise through your senses, your sight again, your hearing, your smell and taste, or your feeling. And what a gift this is. We're super fortunate to hopefully have all of these senses we touched on today. Let's inhale deeply. As deeply as you can without feeling forced here. And exhale Slowly and softly, but fully, really expel all of that air. Maybe you give a little pull back with your navel to kind of squeeze out the rest of that air in your belly and then fill up again. So we're going to move back into all of those senses and now release the areas that we were focusing on. Let's move back to our eyes. I really love this because sometimes I feel like I'm super relaxed and then I start to really focus on my features and realize there is still tension that we just unintentionally hold. So the eyes are my favorite. Can you try to make space between your eyebrows? Widen that area. Sometimes I like to use the visual of a little eraser. And in my mind's eye, I see myself swipe that eraser right between the brows. There's no lines there anymore. Swipe it over each of your eyebrows, under each eye, and kind of like you're feathering out at the edges. Take a mental swipe of that eraser from the corners of your eyes to your hairline, really softly guiding tension away. So you've become easy in your expression here. Now your ears are a tough one, but because they are our source of our sound sense, let's see if we can soften our ears. That's a fun one to work on. I know some people can wiggle their ears, so maybe you can physically soften your ears down a little heavier. That's a pretty cool trick if you can. So personally, I can't do that. So I just like to think about opening them, like really opening them to awareness, heightening that sense of sound that we did earlier, and then gently, but just as quickly, allowing all of that to slip away. Just really coming within here and shutting down that sense of sound. You might be able to hear your breath as it moves. For your smell and your taste, when you're ready to move on, I like to acknowledge that area that I'd like to release. So I'll give my nose, like if you used to be a fan of that show Bewitched, it was such a cute show. I think like in the 90s, maybe the 80s. And she did a little wiggle. She would always wiggle her nose right before she did a little spell or cast the magic. So we kind of wiggle the nose side to side and then soften in your nostrils. They're the opposite of flared. They're really gentle and soft. Your whole nasal cavity is heavy, open, yet soft. Same in your mouth. As we remember that amazing sense of taste, we were able to conjure up something that we just sipped on or taken a bite of. Let your tongue rest heavy in the back of your bottom teeth. Envision your roof of mouth as you breathe, opening like a big parachute being filled up, and then just as quickly softening back down. Your teeth may be touching one another, but they're really soft, no clenching in your jaw. Soften the hinge there, along with the muscles on your actual face. Softening the corners of your mouth. Envision any of that feathering that we might notice as we gain wisdom in our years. We get that feathering around our lips, perhaps. We just see that softening away. And for our final sense earlier, we focused on feeling. So you had a unique experience from all of us, what you were feeling, what you're seated upon, what's against your skin, what may be cooler or warmer depending on how much skin is exposed, is your own experience. So wherever you feel things, like for example, I noticed an actual coldness to my feet and ankles since they're bare. So that's what I'm focusing on here. And then we'll bring that sense of release to that area. And if you're super in touch with feeling textures, perhaps you can sense a little tag against your skin. Whatever you experience, give yourself permission to settle in that area. Soften deepen, allowing gravity to take over. When we connect to our senses, we have this deep sense of knowing about ourselves. I'll ask you to maintain an open mind and see if we are so connected that we might be able to now connect to Earth's elements. Thinking about Earth, I think, is the easiest place to begin. You are literally grounded, whether it's your backside and your back itself and your feet, or a lot more than that. If you folded yourself up onto the floor like me, you could have your whole outer legs and your ankles on the floor. However, you're grounded. You are one with Earth. So I'll say you are, but in your mind, if you like to repeat things, to really internalize them, take them within, you could change it to I am. You are strong. You are grounded. Your roots upon this grounding will stretch miles. Sense of connection to Mother Earth. We are one with water. This is my favorite one because if you see how water moves, we move freely, which enables us to adapt and change as difficulties, as twists and turns come our way, bumps in the road. We move like water, just flow right through. We are one with fire. We carry passion deep within our bellies, whether that be to create life, to create art, to create connection with others. We have this fire within us that we can connect with. We are also connected to and one with the air element. We are able to rise. Let's give ourselves permission to stop imposing limits on ourselves. There are no limits on love, on life, on ourselves, and any self-imposed limits or those that have been imposed upon us by others are meaningless. We are so much more. We are connected with air and we can rise. Ether. We are one with ether, holding space for ourselves, as you've done today in our practice, holding space to slow down, to check in, to connect, to become present. Hold space for your gifts and your perceived flaws. We are one with these elements, which connects us as one to each other and to Mother Earth as a whole, encouraging us, boosting us to become stronger than ever before, to acknowledge that we are limitless, but most importantly, to know that in being, we are worthy. We are perfectly imperfect, just as we are. Let's give thanks as we close our practice in full appreciation that we are awake, aware, alive. Recognize this great sense of presence, hopefully that we've cultivated, that is everywhere. We can insert it into different areas of our day, becoming present with either the elements or our senses. In order, my hope is that we live with total receptivity to so much good, more than we could possibly imagine coming our way. So hopefully these affirmations of connection have helped us or will encourage us to become or stay positive and focus on abundance. May we all feel whole, healthy, experience inner peace, and live with ease. Stay longer if your schedule allows, but to close our practice, we'll bring our hands to heart center, either in a prayer or covering our heart. Take one final big breath in, but connecting again, heart rising up towards our hands. As chin tucks in, we take a gentle bow, but such a powerful acknowledgement for the time you've set aside to practice today. Kudos to you. Thank you for allowing me to lead you, and I hope you have a beautifully connected present day. Namaste.